But right before we do questions and answers, let me give you one more challenge. Not only to find the stories, but think about your organization. Think about your company or nonprofit, whatever it might be, and answer this question. What makes you unique? What is it about your company, your business, your school, your nonprofit, your hospital, whatever it might be? What is it that makes you unique? And find stories that fit that uniqueness if you can. Don't make them up. Don't make up the stories. But find stories that are unique, and find out things about your organization that are unique. It makes for a much more compelling story, number one, and it also sets you apart in people's eyes. And the last thing, I'll share this one tidbit with you, that this is something that I've learned in the last probably 2-3 years. It's much easier to sell a story to a reporter or a media outlet if it's a story they're looking for than it is a story you want to tell them. So if you can find a way to marry what you're doing, what your organization is doing, with something that's going on in your community, or something that's going on culturally, or something that's going on that they are already interested in, it's gotten to the point for us where I get calls instead of having to call. When the Japan earthquake when the Japan earthquake happened, I'm tired. I got a call at 4:30 in the morning, and I'm not used to that anymore. And the older I get, the less I like it. And so my cell phone goes off at 4:30 in the morning, and I reach over and I pick it up, and it's Paul Adler from KY3, wanting to know if I knew what was going on in Japan. And I answered the same way I answered the phone. I had no idea. When I went to bed, everything was fine, and you woke me up. I didn't say that to him. But that's what's happening for us lately, because they I think they're learning, and hopefully we're doing a better job of it, that we have stories that they're interested in, and we can find ways now to shape our stories, shape what we want to talk about to what they're interested in. And for us, it's the local angle on a national story. And that has been a gold mine for us. If there's a way to put something local with your organization to a national story, your coverage rate is just going to skyrocket and things like that, because that's the kind of story they want. They're looking for those. And if you can get them something like that, they'll be your best friend. So, questions. Fire away. There's no sacred topics. Shoe size, anything like that. Work.
What can we do to John?
Pardon me?
What can we do to help John?
Text. That's right. Convoy to 50555. For our organization, it's we've taken a stance at Convoy of Hope that we're going to try to avoid at all costs taking product donations. What happens in our world, product donations actually hurt you more than they help you. It takes so much labor, so much time and energy to just receive them, inventory them, stack them, arrange them, clean them sometimes, that we've really gotten away from that. We try our best to only accept truckload quantities, or at least palletized quantities. So we've discouraged people. There are a couple companies, I guess I could say, out there that will make commitments like that and then ask us if it's okay. And you do your best to work through those situations. But really, I always tell people the two best things you can do are pray and give. One of the things that we've done at Convoy lately has really worked in the last couple of years on our messaging and really defining our message. answer that with this. Our message is Convoy Folks, a faith-based organization with a driving passion to feed the world through children's feeding initiatives, disaster response, community outreach, and partner resourcing. And we've worked really hard at trying to, number one, in our staff, get that message ingrained, and number two, get that message out into the community. So people understand we are a faith-based organization, and that's why I can say in just about any setting I've ever gone to that we need your prayers. We need people that believe in prayer to pray for us. The one time that didn't work was yesterday, and that was when I got a call from Al Jazeera television. And I didn't get the call back, and I'm still trying to figure out why. But we try really hard to never change our message for the audience. We will, obviously if I'm speaking in a church, I'll dwell more on that side of it than I will in a meeting something like this, or I spoke at a business meeting not too long ago. But the first thing I always tell people is you can pray. If you believe in prayer, then pray. And the second thing you can do is give. One of the points in our message, if you get into some of the sub-points, is what we call 1 becomes 7. And this is kind of a reinforcement for that message of giving. It's very difficult for me to stand up in front of a reporter or a group and say, we don't want your stuff, we want your money. That's what it sounds like it's coming across. No matter how I say it, it sounds like it's coming across that way. But when I explain the problem and explain the remedy, they get it. And so that's where we came up with this 1 becomes 7. We went back and did a study, and for every dollar donated to Convoy of Hope, on the average, $7 worth of product makes it into the hands of people in need. And so that's one of the message points that we really try to drive home. And when you can say that fairly simply now, and people get it, and they understand. So those, to answer your question, 2 things, pray and give.
I would think that in this situation in particular, where Springfield and people in this region are feeling very compelled to help in Joplin, that would be, that's a challenging message right now. And I know just because I've been watching the news and the Twitter feed and everything, that there are a lot of people who, and there are people who are, there are media outlets that are encouraging, bring a case of water, bring a case of water. But if you know anything about feeding programs, I give you $25, you can buy this much stuff.
Yeah.
I go buy $25 worth of stuff and I get this much stuff.
That's it, exactly.
And that's a challenging message to get across in an emergency situation. People aren't receptive to that because they want to act, they want to do, they want to feel like they're contributing something tangible, not just giving you money.
Yeah.
So I can see where that's overwhelmingly challenging to get that message across. And just, again, watching the Twitter feed, the Twitter roll today was, water and, these are the top 10 things that they need. And, so it's still, there are individual people who are driving, they need these things. Whereas organizations, Red Cross, Convoy, are saying, help us by donating to us.
Yeah. Absolutely. Anybody else? You're making this too easy.